So we're on the way to go get some minerals for the farm. And I had a few people ask me about what we put on our land, and this is a golden opportunity for me to really go into a side of what we're doing on the farm to remineralize the soil, which ultimately, when we talk about soil and we talk about plants and healthy plants, we're talking about really creating a super robust, diverse micro food web, because ultimately the mycorrhiza and all the different bacteria digesters, ones that live not only on the root zone but live in the roots, we're finding out are key to breaking down these minerals that we're going to get. And the way we come to the conclusion on how to know what minerals to buy, how much to use, and what form to get them, we go back to Albrecht. And Albrecht was a scientist in Missouri. And what was really cool about what Albrecht was doing is he was working with Weston A. Price and Harry Pottenger, and they were basically, looking at the arches, the dental arches, the teeth, and the feet of people to identify health. And basically, a lot of you guys already know the conclusion to their work. It all came down to mineralization, minerals. And even Dr. Seebe's work that people have seen, which, he has some legitimate healings that have happened. Might not agree with everything he sells or whatever, but he has had some legitimate healings, the foundation being minerals. And any mentor I've ever studied under that really knew what was going on, it was always minerals. However, we don't know, even on an organic farm movement, how to properly assay or assess or test the soils and know which elements to even look for from the beginning, and and so on. But Albrecht has developed a method that is phenomenal, and that's the method that I'm adhering to for this aspect of remineralizing my property, because there's other aspects that go into feeding the food web besides minerals. And the other point in that is just general nutrition and food. And so people are like, well, what does that look like? Well, for us on Crucial 4 Farm, that's where we use a lot of the inputs we create. We use a lot of the plants, and say we go foraging for IMO and we see some real shiny nettle leaves, like we look at that as an opportunity to bring in and create a fertilizer out of. If we go fishing and we catch some fish, and we're not going to eat those fish because a lot of the rivers and lakes around where I am, I really wouldn't eat that fish. However, I can chop that fish up and ferment it with indigenous microorganisms and feed that back to my garden. I can literally create a closed loop system with no animals as well. So some of you will appreciate that. However, I prefer to use animal waste. I actually would prefer to use human waste and human excrement, because I truly believe that is the most powerful way to remineralize or to feed the nutrition element to the land. It doesn't remineralize the land. And I know a lot of people will think, oh my God, that's disgusting. But we have to understand is, if we're all eating healthy food from that land, and we're just giving back that, and we're not on antibiotics and, heavy metal loads, and we're all generally healthy, then that idea actually makes a little bit more sense. But initially it can kind of be repulsive, and it's true in nature because the situation we've created. So anyways, we're getting these minerals based on this Albrecht test, and I'm going to explain. I'm going to be doing some seminars. I've even got one of my mentors coming to Dallas in fall that's going to break down this one aspect and many other aspects to creating food as medicine, legitimacy on creating more nutrient-dense food, not based on theory, but based on analysis. And in the end, the number one thing that we see is that the taste and the smell. So your own barometer is actually the number one indicator to know like if something's extremely healthy or not. And a big part of what we're doing at Crucial 4 is we're basically showing people how to become their own doctors, their own healers, and a big part of that is creating that intuition, that sense that we've kind of lost, and we've really degenerated, you know, because we don't have the minerals. You know, when you look at the Harrington Pottinger study and you see like what they looked at as far as people that didn't have healthy teeth, you know, they had bug teeth and flat feet, you know, and I know I've dealt with that to some degree. I wasn't fed the best, and it comes down to the soils. Again, it goes down to the soils and how farming was just raping and pillaging the topsoil, the traditional farming, conventional farming. And not to mention CO2. We talk about CO2, cars. No, the most CO2 that's released in the atmosphere is from tillage. No one talks about this. No one says this. It's tillage. Because when you break up organic matter, it releases tons of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a key player in plant health, and it's a limiting factor that if you don't have it dialed into your structure, plants cannot grow healthy. And I'm going to go more into that and stuff that we talk about. But through that carbon sequestering, we actually reverse the needle. So, and we create organic matter. So it's like the opposite, you know, versus where now it's like releasing CO2 and destroying organic matter and then leaching chemicals and all types of crap into the dead zone, it's called, which is like right there by Louisiana and Mississippi, where the water goes into the ocean. So yeah, anyways, long-winded there, but I just want to explain all this to you guys, and so you understand kind of like the reason why and some logic behind it all. But I'm going to show you guys these minerals we're about to pick up. I'm super excited to get these going, show you some of the analysis that we'll be doing afterwards to assay the application of these minerals, also how we're going to be applying these minerals, and then how that works into our fertigation system and how that works into our microbial inoculation system. All right, signing off.